So, welcome to this course about healthy couple communication. Today, we're going to learn about Imago Dialogue. And this is a practice that we have been practicing for a few years now. And we have found this practice very healing, very nurturing, and it has allowed us to stop fighting and start seeing each other and heal wounds and be able to talk about very difficult and triggering topics with safety.
Things that make snot bubbles come out your nose and tears are running out of your eyes and you're it just it's there's no other way to explain it other than when we're touching those really deep places, it's always going to surface and feel good. It's like how we organize. We don't know how it's going to work out, but when we go and help someone declutter and organize their space, it always feels like a huge weight's been lifted, space and opportunities appear, and the anxiety and stress are gone about it.
Yeah. We were introduced to this practice by a friend. She recommended a book from Harville Hendricks, Getting the Love That You Want. And then from there, we give it a try, but we didn't get it right away.
No, I don't think we understood anything about it, but it did stay in our mind that that was something that they were doing.
Yeah, it stayed in our mind. And it wasn't until after when we started doing a couples workshop with John Wyland,
Depth and devotion.
Depth and Devotion.
Thank
One,
you.
one of the techniques that we learned from that course that we are still doing is Imago Dialogue.
Yeah, huge.
So Imago Dialogue is a technique that is going to allow you to create safety with your partner. It's going to allow you to look at things that are very triggering in a way that you can receive and you can share, and your partner can do the same. And it has a structure that we will share about, but it's very important to follow the structure.
It's also the gateway to forgiveness that we don't even realize how much we're holding onto against our partner or the person that we share space with the most. Because this Imago Dialogue, it isn't just for partnerships. I use it in my friendships now. I've used it with my parents. It is a wonderful tool. And it's not just about intimacy, but when you do it with your partner, it's like clearing all of the stuff, seeing them again for who they are and why you're together, and just being turned on and being able to connect sexually and with intimacy with an open heart. There is no more resentments. There is no, I can't forgive you for this, or remember when this happened. All of that gets out of the way. Get out the way.
Yeah. And there needs to be a willingness from both people to do this, to be in this space. There has to be consent. But it is true, as Samantha says, that you can take this structure and you don't have to tell people what you are doing, but you can use pieces of this structure with anyone, really. You can validate, you can empathize, you can mirror. People don't know what you are doing, but they can feel it. It's unconscious.
Yeah.
They can sense it. You will become a way better listener, and people are going to feel safer around you, and they're going to be more willing to share and to be vulnerable with you. So,
which is why you also have to protect yourself when you become aware and you become really good at listening. There are people who unconsciously will just start to dump and share. And if you're not conscious of what's happening, you end up carrying all of this stuff that they felt so comfortable and relaxed sharing. The benefits for me from Imago Dialogue, because most likely, and I don't mean to be gender biased, and it doesn't matter if there are two genders. Gender doesn't matter in this form of communication. So whether you're part of the LGBTQ2 spirit, this is a tool for human communication. And it most likely will be the person who's most in touch with the feminine who brings this tool, because all we want is more love. We don't want disturbance. We actually don't want drama, even though sometimes we can get pulled into it. And this tool helps eliminate all of that. One of us is conscious enough at any moment now that as soon as something turns crunchy, prickly, ooh, that doesn't feel good, somebody's conscious and somebody's calling dialogue. So we just don't wound each other anymore. Because I don't know if you can relate to being hurt by something your partner said, or being not seen, and any of those kinds of things that need to be validated and not receiving it. Imago Dialogue clears all of that.
Yeah, it creates a structure for safety. Many times we start having a conversation, we are talking about something, and all of a sudden one of us feels triggered to the point that it does he or she, me or her, we don't feel safe anymore. So we have to be conscious enough to say safety. I need to call a dialogue. I cannot keep going like this because I'm being hurt and this is not going to go anywhere nice. So that's when an Imago Dialogue comes into place. Imago Dialogue is going to allow you to uncover patterns, uncover unconscious ways of behaving that most likely you are carrying from your infancy, from your childhood. Maybe you saw these patterns with your parents, with the people who raised you, with the environment around you, and you have been repeating those patterns until now, and you are projecting these things into everybody around you. So Imago Dialogue is a beautiful healing opportunity to uncover these things, to look at them, to become aware of them, to accept them, to forgive, and then to transform them into something different. It's a very beautiful tool, very powerful.
It's very difficult. It's a big challenge, um, and definitely knowing all the steps that we're gonna share just about how setting it up yourself up for success using a structure. It's been 4 years. You said a few years, but it's been 4 years. It was right at the beginning of, lockdown that we joined the John Wyland program. We printed off the resources, we followed the structure, we used a timer because it was so hard to sit with one another and stare into each other's eyes and be able to let go, because the letting go, it's like, um, if you believe in stuck energy, like the tears, the sounds, the words coming out, the release of the things that you've been holding on to and maybe too afraid to share. And like we said, since childhood. So all of the things that attracted us together become all of the things that want to push us apart. And the dialogue helps resew all of that in a really beautiful way. And then I just know so much more about Emilio. I've been with him for um, since 2011,
Mm.
so 13 years. And there were things that I'm still learning new things about him that I thought, oh, there's no story I don't know about him. And it's like, wow, it opened up a whole nother can of information about this person. And that feels really good.
And sometimes we learn about ourselves. Sometimes just bringing this to the dialogue, being able to voice things out, being able to be witnessed by someone else in your story, in your feelings, in your emotions, allows you to go deeper. And sometimes I learn something about myself that I didn't know it was there. I didn't know why I did something. I didn't know why I reacted to this situation this way. And every time we do a dialogue, majority of the times, I learn something about myself. I learn something about her. And when that happens, it's going to change the way we show up for each other. It's going to change the way we show up for ourselves. It's going to uncover that can, and it's going to allow us to have opportunities to change, opportunities to transform if we choose to. So this Imago Dialogue goes hand in hand with inner child work, with shadow work, with any of this somatic therapy also. Any expression of these emotions is welcome in this dialogue. Sometimes you can cry, you can sweat, you sometimes we hold space for a tantrum, and we may scream or hit a pillow or do something to move that energy. So it's a container that you can bring in whatever you want, really.
It's the yoga for communication as well. So if you align or have ever tried yoga or meditation, this is a practice. So of course, you don't just maybe some people are naturally, but you don't just show up to a gymnasium and be an all-star ring master or bar master. Every time you get started, it was hard. You fell down. You got back up. You tried again. You tried again. Tried again, and the next thing you know, you're at the Olympics. That's what this is like. It's gonna feel really uncomfortable. It's gonna be repulsive maybe. Um, but the truth is, if you truly are connected on why you're together and why you are sharing space or anything like that, it's consensual, this is just such a beautiful tool to help bring you back together to that, like, energy of when you first met, that attraction and that connection.
Yeah, and this is all about your nervous system. As Samantha says, this is the yoga of communication because one thing is the theory and the steps that logically you have in your mind that you are going to follow. Another very different thing is to actually be in front of someone, looking at their eyes, feeling those emotions, and then be able to be present with them, be able to be present with what's present for you, what's present for the other person, the energy that is going through, the trigger, the emotional charge that you may feel. That's going to have an impact in your nervous system. And you have been used to those dynamics for so long that is so ingrained that when you try something different, you just have to practice it. You have to relearn in your nervous system. You have to rewire so that you don't react the same way to the same things, and you can start practicing something different. And that's why the practice, this Imago Dialogue, creates a container that becomes a playground for you to practice that new way of communication in a safe environment. Because we're going to make mistakes, because it's going to be clunky, because we're going to step up into the unknown. And sometimes we don't know what we're doing. We just have to create new ways of reacting and behaving, and the nervous system is going to be reacting differently. That's why this is such profound work, healing work.
I want to say some people some time too, that we both came into this as willing participants.
Yeah.
Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe someone is kind of dragging the other, saying this is going to be good for us. I want us to try this, and one person's resistant. I do want to share that if you're both here, if the partnership is watching this together, you're already winning. You're already gonna make it. It's if you're here by yourself and you're watching this and your partner refuses to watch this, consider who you are spending and sharing everything with. If they can't show up for you, if they can't come to the table and say, "Yeah, I do wanna communicate better with you because I love you and I don't want to hurt you anymore." It's going to be hard, but we're going to do it together.
Yeah. And sometimes it takes one person to get started too, so that they can evoke something different in the other person. Sometimes one person is more conscious, more willing, more skilled, more emotionally mature, however you want to call it. And then that person can take this information and can get started also doing this. We start telling the partner we're doing an Imago Dialogue because that's a lot of pressure. And you can start mirroring, you can start validating, you can start empathizing, and then you will start noticing what happens. And as Samantha says, sometimes us changing is going to have a huge impact on the other person. So it's very easy to point the finger, but when you start changing yourself, you are going to start evoking change around you. And over time, if you don't see any change and you are doing your best, maybe you need to have further conversations, right? And honest conversations about the reasons why you are together. But get started now, be curious, be willing to give this a try. I hope that you both are here, and I hope that you both are willing to step into the unknown. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's okay to make mistakes. We didn't make it the first dialogue. It was a disaster. I couldn't hold my presence. I couldn't look at her. I was crying. It was too much for my nervous system. But that's already doing the work.
And it was true. I was ready. I was a mountain and I was embodying my masculine and I was killing him with my gaze.
I was feeling like doing this.
Yeah.
All the time because I was feeling like very attacked, and she was really ready for me to show up. But it was too intense for me. It's like my electrical wiring in my nervous system was like exploring some energy, and I couldn't handle it. But the fact that you are here, the fact that I was even showing up for that, that's already practice. And every time you show up, it's gonna get better. So please be patient, be curious, be present with what is, and be willing to have fun and discover more about each other and about yourself.
See you in the next one.